All right. So, hello everyone. Welcome, welcome. We are just going to take a nice seated pose on our mat. You can be like crisscross applesauce or even have your legs out straight if crossing the knees doesn't feel good. But just coming to a nice, comfortable position. And then before we close your eyes, or you can close them right away, just start to feel the pose that you're in. You can even move side to side a little bit. Sometimes it's hard to just come into a pose of stillness when you've been running around and your mind is going. Just easing your way in, no rush. And then after finding a little bit of movement in the body, maybe coming to a place of stillness and rooting the sit bones down into the ground, lifting the crown of the head all the way up, spine nice and long, closing the eyes or letting them be nice and heavy. And then let's take a big inhale through the nose. Nice sigh out the mouth. Relaxing the shoulders a little bit more. Just nice big inhales and slower, deeper exhales. Relaxing the body, relaxing the mind. And then if it resonates with you, maybe setting a little intention for your practice today. It can be a positive affirmation, or maybe it's releasing something that no longer serves or benefits you. Whatever it is, just letting it be, letting that sink in. Knowing that in the next 45 minutes, you have no obligations, no deadlines, but just to be here present with yourself, with your breath. And then taking one big inhale through the nose, nice long exhale. Begin to take the chin towards the chest. Slowly roll the neck in one direction. And then slowly taking it the other way. Slowly begin to blink open the eyes, nice and easy. And then we'll inhale the gaze all the way forwards. Beautiful. We'll take the arms and inhale, lift the fingers all the way up. Gaze looks in between the thumbs. Exhale, begin to take that right hand down to the ground. Inhale that top arm all the way up, stretching nice and long. If it feels good, exhale, begin to lean over to the right. Still rooting that left sit bone down into the ground. Nice long stretch in the ribs, opening up. And then we'll inhale all the way back up towards center. And then exhale, leaning towards the other side. Inhale that top arm all the way up. And then exhale, leaning over to the other side. Just breathing through the side body. Again, if any of this doesn't feel good, always backing off. Never have to push into a certain pose. So taking that top arm, we're going to slowly sweep it across the mat. And it doesn't even have to be that deep. And then we'll inhale the left arm all the way up, maybe rolling the shoulder back just a bit, tiny back bend. And again, we'll go the other way, inhale, sweeping, and then taking that top arm all the way up. So we're just going to do this a few times, just opening up, warming up the spine, warming up the shoulders, and then opening up the chest. And if it feels good, you can always close your eyes, feeling all the little movements, deepening with each breath, each movement. And then maybe one more time, whichever way you're going. And then we'll inhale both arms all the way up, lifting nice and tall. And then exhale, just settle the arms right next to your side. And actually, let's do that a few more times. We'll inhale the arms all the way up, gathering up all that energy. And then exhale, float them down. 2 more times. Inhale all the way up. And then exhale, floating them down. Last time, inhale up. And then exhale down. Just energizing the body, getting it ready and warmed up. So we're gonna spin over to the right side. And then we're gonna inhale the spine nice and long. Exhale, begin to slowly spin the body a little more towards the right. Begin to take the head, the gaze towards the back of the room. And again, backing off if it feels too intense. 1 breath in, and 1 breath out. Coming back towards center, nice and easy. And we'll just walk the hands to the other side. Inhale the spine nice and tall. And then exhale, begin to move into that space that you just created. Slow little movements. And 1 big breath in, 1 big breath out. And then coming all the way back to center. So we're gonna take our hands, and then we're gonna take them and clasp them behind the back. Inhale, lift the chest all the way up, knuckles point towards the ground, opening up. And then exhale, releasing the hands, and we're just going to walk our hands out in front of us. Maybe move a little side to side. And you can always use a block or a book, even a pillow, to give you a little more leverage. If you feel like you want to go a little deeper, maybe the forearms come down onto the ground or onto a pillow. You can sway a little side to side, or even find a bit of stillness, rounding in the head. Taking 1 breath in, and 1 breath out. Slowly walking the hands all the way back up. If you have your legs crossed, see if you can cross the other leg on top, just trying to balance this out. And then once you find that nice position again, we'll inhale the arms all the way up. And then exhale, just floating them down. 2 more times. Inhale up. This time, connect the thumbs together. And then exhale, press the elbows out and down. Nice little shoulder stretch in the back. Inhale up, exhale, floating the hands down. Good. Inhale 1 more time, all the way up. Connect the thumbs, maybe opposite. I know it kind of feels weird. And then exhale, elbows bend. And we'll inhale up, and then exhale down. So we're going to take that right arm and then bend the elbow and slowly press that elbow down as much as comfortable. Again, always backing off if that doesn't feel good. And see if you can lengthen up the spine. So no slouching over, but trying to be nice and tall. If it feels good, maybe taking the opposite hand, reaching it behind. And if the fingertips don't grab, that's okay, as long as they're reaching towards each other. And again, taking 1 breath in, 1 breath out. If it feels good, maybe leaning over to the left, and then opening up that elbow, looking past it, and then coming back towards center. So we're going to unravel out of that. Take the right arm underneath the left. Eagle arms, wrapping in the arms. And then we'll inhale, take the fingertips a little closer to the sky, around the shoulders just a bit. Gaze can look at the elbows or even closing the eyes. Full breath in, full breath out. And then slowly taking that left arm across the chest. If it feels good, the gaze can look over that left shoulder. Breathing deeply in and deeply out. Beautiful. And we'll take that left arm and then begin to bend that elbow right behind. So we're just doing the same sequence on the other side. And don't worry, each side might feel a little different. One might feel more open or a little more tight. That's okay. So again, lifting up nice and tall, gently pressing the elbow down, but not forcing anything. And if it feels good, taking the opposite hand, maybe the fingertips meet. And then maybe bending over to the right just a bit and opening up that left shoulder, looking past it. And then we'll unravel out of that, taking the left arm underneath the right. Eagle arms, pressing the fingertips towards the sky. Big inhale in, nice exhale out. And then taking that right arm across the chest, maybe looking over the right shoulder. And then we'll gently take the arms, goalpost them, open up the chest, and then take the hands behind you once more, clasp the hands, press the chest all the way up, knuckles point down towards the earth. Exhale, begin to take the hands in front of you. And again, just see what's going on. Especially if you cross the legs a little differently, it might feel different in the low back, and that's okay. So maybe taking it left to right. If it feels good, taking the forearms down to the ground or down to a prop. Finding a little bit of movements in the body. And then maybe finding stillness if that resonates with you. Deep breath in. Calm breath out. One more time, big inhale in. Nice exhale out. Slowly begin to walk the fingertips all the way to the back. So you can come to a side seat or gently roll over the knees. We're going to come into a tabletop. And if you need a blanket, or you can even put a pillow under the knees if that feels better. I know sometimes the mats don't do too much cushion, especially if you have wooden floors. So just finding what works for you. So your shoulders are going to be right over your wrists, and your hips are going to be right over your knees, and then fingertips spread nice and wide. Nice, long, neutral spine. You can even move a little forward and back, left to right. Even that's a nice warm up for the wrist, especially for us who are at a desk all day on the computer. Nice little massage on the wrist. And then we'll find a bit of stillness. Inhale, drop the belly, open up the chest, gaze looks up. And then exhale, round the upper back, belly to spine, chin to chest. Good, inhale, open up, pulling the heart through. And then exhale, dome the upper back. And then just a few more times with your own breath. Nice, calm, slow movement. And actually, while you're doing a few more of those, I'm going to check on our music because I feel like it's not playing right now. There we go. And then just maybe one more round of a cat-cow breath. And then coming back to that tabletop, we're gently going to look over to our left pinky toes. Try to keep the hips stable so you're not shifting the hips, but see if you can keep them in that nice line. And then looking back towards center, and just looking over to the left. Warming up the spine in a different direction. So on your next inhale, we're going to lift that right arm all the way up. Gaze can look at the top fingertips. Exhale, sweep that hand underneath the chest just for a second. And then inhale the arm all the way up. Exhale, sweep. Last time, inhale all the way up. Exhale, this time begin to thread that right arm all the way under shoulder, come down onto the ground. If it feels good, you can always inch your left fingertips towards the front of the mat. Or you can always place that left hand on the low back or even finding that right hip crease. Big breath in. Longer breath out. And we're slowly going to take that left hand back down to the mat, pressing all the way back up to that nice, strong tabletop. On your next breath in, we'll lift the left fingertips all the way up, opening up the chest. And then exhale, sweep that arm underneath. 2 more times. Inhale up. Exhale, sweep. 1 more time. Inhale up. Nice and tall. And then exhale, threading that left arm all the way through. Again, if it feels good, you can always inch those right fingertips towards the front of the mat, or even place them on your low back, or finding that left hip crease. 1 breath in, 1 breath out. Taking that right hand back to the mat, slowly pressing all the way up. So finding that nice, strong tabletop. Again, spreading the fingertips nice and wide. We're going to tuck the toes under and then begin to slowly lift the knees and hover them just an inch or 2. Really engaging the core. Gaze is looking straight down, neck is nice and long with the spine. 1 more breath. And then exhale, begin to take the hips all the way up and back, keep bending the knees. We're not worried about bending the legs yet. What we want to do is try to get our spine nice and long, ears are right in between our forearms. Really pressing strongly into the mat. And then when you're ready, maybe straightening one leg, and then switching, pedaling the feet, opening up the backs of the legs, nice and easy. You can feel that stretch in the ankles all the way up to the calves, all the way up to the hamstrings. And again, just moving nice and slow. And then maybe if it feels good, try to find that downward dog. And if you need to bend your knees, that's totally fine. I'd rather have the spine be nice and long than the legs. But still trying to activate the legs nice and strong to see if you can get the heels to touch. And even if they're floating up here, that's okay too. And if it feels good, inhale, lift up onto the toes. And then exhale the heels down towards the mat. 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale down. Last time. Inhale up onto the toes. And then exhale the heels down. On your next breath in, we're going to gaze towards the top of the mat and slowly begin to walk yourself all the way to the front. Nice simple steps. Once you make it up, folding over the legs. Nice bend in the knees. No need to straighten right now. But from here, maybe grabbing onto opposite elbows, swaying a little side to side and ragdoll. Seeing if you can get the top of the head parallel to the floor. And that'll help release all those neck muscles, relieving any tension that may be lingering. And taking 1 breath in, 1 breath out. We'll slowly take the fingertips back down to the ground, keeping the head nice and heavy. We're going to slowly roll up 1 vertebrae at a time, all the way up to standing. Once you make it up, rolling the shoulders down the spine. Inhale the hands all the way up, gaze what's in between the thumbs. Exhale, begin to hinge at the hips, forward fold all the way down, nice small bend in the knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands can be on top of the thighs, nice flat back. And then exhale, forward fold. Twice more. Inhale, halfway lift. Maybe the hands graze the calves. And then exhale down. Last time, inhale, halfway lift, crown of the head pointing towards the front of the room. And then exhale, forward fold. Taking the hands down to the ground, we're just going to step back into a plank pose. Engaged, or your core is engaged, and really spreading the fingertips wide, pressing into the mat. Hanging out here for one more breath. And then we'll slowly take the knees down to the ground and then bend the elbows, raise the rib cage all the way down to the belly. So we're going to dip the elbows straight into the rib cage so the elbows are pointing towards the toes. And then we'll inhale just an inch or two for a baby cobra. And then exhale down. Twice more. Inhale maybe a little higher this time. And then exhale down. Last time, inhale maybe to a full cobra. And then exhale slowly down. And then we'll tuck the toes under, again, dipping the elbows into the side, engage the core, and see if you can press yourself all the way up to a plank pose. And then pressing all the way back to a downward facing dog. And then pedaling out the feet again, still getting into the back of those hamstrings. When you're ready, we'll inhale, gaze towards the top of the mat, and again, taking nice little steps all the way to the top. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, begin to roll up one vertebrae at a time, nice and easy. Once you make it to the top, rolling the shoulders back, inhale the arms all the way up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, swan dive down, nice and easy. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, taking the hands back down to the ground, stepping back to that plank pose. Spreading the fingertips nice and wide, engaging the core. And almost like a little cat back, really spreading the shoulder blades. And then we'll just stay here for one more breath. And then one more breath out. So again, taking the knees down and then begin to bend the elbows all the way down to the ground. This time, we're going to take our fingertips on the outside of the mat. We'll inhale the chest all the way up and then exhale down. Twice more, inhale up and then exhale down. Now this time we're going to inhale up. Exhale, take that right shoulder in towards midline. Inhale up, and then exhale, taking that left shoulder towards midline. And then inhale up. Exhale, lowering all the way down. Taking the hands right underneath the shoulders again. Elbows tightened by the rib cage, and tucking the toes under. Engage the core, and we'll lift all the way up to plank pose. You can even be on the knees if that's easier. Just still engaging the core, nice and strong. And then we'll lift all the way back up to a downward facing dog. Pedaling out the feet. Taking one breath in and one breath out. Inhale, gaze towards the top of the mat. Exhale, step maybe a little bigger this time, all the way up. But you can always do simple steps. That's totally fine with me. We'll inhale, halfway lift, and then exhale, forward fold. This time, inhale, root to rise all the way up to standing, lifting the arms, lifting the gaze. Exhale, hands come, or thumbs come to the third eye, and then thumbs come all the way to heart center. Maybe closing the eyes. Really find the ground beneath you, spreading the toes nice and tall, lifting through the arches, and then engaging the quads and the core, rolling the shoulders back, lifting the crown of the head all the way to the sky. And we'll just take a few deep cleansing breaths. So a big inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. 2 more times, inhale. Exhale. Last time, inhale. Exhale. Beautiful. So we'll inhale the arms all the way up, growing nice and tall. Exhale, hinge at the hips, swan dive down. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, taking the hands down to the mat, stepping back to that plank pose. So this time, lowering the knees down and then bending the elbows, grazing the ribcage down to the floor. We're gonna pick up the toes and the hands just a bit, place them down, and then press all the way back up to a plank pose. So we're just gonna do that 2 more times. You can always be on your knees as well. So lowering down and then pressing on up. Last time, lower down and then pressing up. And then taking it all the way back, downward facing dog. And taking 3 rounds of breath here. You can always come down into child's pose if you need a little break. 1 breath in, 1 breath out. Inhale, gaze towards the top of the mat, and exhale, slowly stepping all the way up. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise all the way up, standing, lifting the arms, lifting the gaze. Exhale, swan dive down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, taking the hands down and stepping back to plank pose. So this time you can do those 3 push-ups or maybe coming into a chaturanga. So lowering halfway down or a low plank. Inhale to a cobra or upward facing dog. And then exhale, downward facing. So from here, we're gonna take our right leg, inhale, lift all the way up. Exhale, bend the knee, open up the hip. If it feels good, you can roll the hip open a few times. Opening up the hips just a bit more, even taking that right heel closer to the glute, engaging the quad. And then we'll inhale, straighten up that right leg, squaring off the hip. Exhale, begin to take that knee in between and lower that right foot in between the hands for a low lunge. So if you have blocks or even books, you can always place your hands right there. Let the hip settle and then slowly lower that back knee down to the ground. So staying here if this feels good. You can always place that right hand and left hand on that front knee. And then see if you can take your hips and see if you can point them towards the front of the room. You'll feel more of a stretch in that left quad right there. So wherever you are, you can have the hands all the way up or just have them float right by your side, opening up the chest. We're just gonna breathe through this pose. 2 more breaths. And 1 more breath. Taking the hands down to your props or down to the mat, we're gonna slowly shift the hips over that back knee, coming into a half split. So flexing those right toes or the front toes, protecting the knee, engaging the quad. And you can always place a nice bend in that front leg as well if that's too much of a stretch in the hamstring. Always backing up if something doesn't feel good, just listening to the body. And we'll take 1 more breath here. 1 more breath out. So we're gonna slow through this just 2 times, really nice and slow. So we'll inhale, come all the way up, nice low crescent lunge. And then exhale all the way back for that half split. 2 more times. Inhale, coming all the way forward. And then exhale all the way back. This time we'll inhale all the way forward. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. And then we're going to spin that back heel down to the ground. And inhale, windmill the arms all the way up. Warrior 2. So in this pose, we want that front knee right over that ankle or a little behind, just not in front, and letting this thigh press up towards the right, So not having your knee go inward, but actually out to the side. Hips are level, arms are nice and straight. And just hanging out here just for a bit. Grounding the feet down into the earth, lifting the crown of the head towards the sky. And then on your next breath in, we'll straighten up that front knee, lift all the way up. And then exhale, slowly bending warrior two. 2 more times, inhale up. Exhale, warrior two. 1 more time, inhale up. And then exhale, warrior two. On your next breath in, we're gonna tip all the way back, reversing our warrior. And then exhale, leaning towards the front, extended side angle. So your forearm is on your side, but pressing into it. So, we're not just hanging out, but really intentionally pressing into it, letting that top arm come all the way up or even over. Keeping with that breath. See if you can have a nice calm inhale and a nice calm exhale. We'll inhale, tip it back, reverse. Exhale, extended side angle. 1 more time, inhale, reverse. And then exhale, extended side angle. Beautiful. This time, we're just gonna take our hands back down to the mat and then take that front foot towards the back, coming into that plank pose. You can go straight into downward facing dog, or do a couple of push-ups, or come into chaturanga, cobra, upward facing dog, and then exhale, downward facing. So just a reminder, this is your journey. You can add or take out whatever you want. There is no rules, as long as it feels good in your body. So we'll stay here for 1 more breath. And then when you're ready, we'll take the left toes all the way up, bend the knee, open up the hip. If it feels good, circling the hip just a couple of times to open up. And then we'll inhale, straighten that left leg, squaring off the hips. Exhale, take the knee in towards the chest, and then left foot comes in between the hands for a low lunge. Again, if you want the blocks or books or whatever you have to help you right underneath your hands, let the hips settle. And then slowly lowering that back knee down to the ground and then flattening the back foot. Staying here if it feels good, or taking the hands onto the knee. Again, taking those hips and see if you can square them off to the front of the room. You should feel a nice stretch right in that front quad. Letting the hands flow all the way up or even down by your side. Maybe even closing the eyes. Trying to be nice and calm. 1 more breath in. 1 more breath out. Taking the hands down to the blocks or down to the mat. We're gonna slowly straighten up that front leg, flexing the toes up. Inhale, maybe a little halfway lift, lengthening out that spine. And then exhale, folding in just an inch or two. Nothing too intense. Again, bending that front knee if need be. Calm breath in. Calm breath out. And we're slowly going to roll through that a couple of times. So inhale all the way forward. Exhale, coming back to that half split. Last round. Inhale, pulling the chest forward. And then exhale all the way back to a half split. This time we'll inhale forward and then tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and then spin the back heel down to the ground. Engaging the core, letting the legs be nice and engaged. We're gonna windmill the arms all the way open, warrior two. So again, you can always even put your stance shorter, and that'll feel better on the knees, or sometimes even the hips will feel better. Lengthening out will open it up more, so just playing with it. But again, remembering to put that knee right on top of the ankle or even behind, and then taking that leg towards the back leg. There's that imaginary wall right behind you. And then arms are nice and long. Gaze is nice and soft, looking past those front fingertips. Rolling the shoulders down the spine, softening just a bit. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. On your next inhale, straighten up that front leg, lift all the way up. And then exhale, gently coming back into that warrior two. 2 more times. Inhale up. Exhale, warrior two. Last time. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale, we're going to reverse, tipping all the way back. Exhale, coming forward to side angle. Top arm can lift all the way up or even extend overhead. Still rooting that forearm down to the top of the thigh. There should be a lot of space in between that shoulder and your ear. Engaging the core, maybe rolling the shoulder back just a bit more. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale, tip it all the way back, reverse. And then exhale, coming over, extended side angle. Last round, inhale, reverse. Exhale, coming over, extended side angle. And then we'll just take the hands back down to the ground. And then take that front foot, coming back into that plank pose. Again, taking your flow, whatever that looks like. And then meeting back up into a downward facing dog. So we're going to stay in this downward facing dog for 3 long rounds of breath. You can always come down to child's pose if that feels better. And then if you're with me, coming into that downward facing dog, we're going to inhale the right toes all the way up. Bend the knee, open up the hip just for a second. And then straighten out that right leg. And take that knee on the outside of that right hand, planting the foot on the outside of the mat. So staying here if it feels good. And then placing that back knee on the ground, coming into the lizard pose. So stay here if it feels good. You can always take a pillow or blocks, give you more leverage, and place your hands on there. Sometimes it feels good to roll onto the outside of that right foot and to open up the hip a bit more. If that doesn't feel good, just backing off, coming back to what you were in. Just breathing through this. If you want to come down to the forearms, that feels good. And then when you're ready, we'll take the hands all the way back up, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and then we're just going to come all the way back into our downward facing dog. When you're ready, we'll lift the left leg all the way up, bend the knee, open up the hip, and then swing that knee to that left shoulder. Left foot comes on the outside of that left hand. When you're ready, taking the knee down to the ground, flattening the back toes. Maybe rolling onto the outside of that left foot. Nice little hip opener. And again, if it feels good, you can always take your forearms down to a pillow, down to the floor. Breathing into opening that hip. Again, backing off if something doesn't feel good or something doesn't feel right. And then when you're ready, we'll slowly press out of that. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. Taking the left foot all the way back, downward facing dog. Slowly lowering the knees down to the ground. Take the big toes together, spread the knees as wide as comfortable, and then take the hips back towards the heel, coming into child's pose. Taking the third eye down onto the mat. Relaxing the shoulders, the upper back. When you're ready, we'll slowly press ourselves all the way up. And then we'll just take a side seat. Take our legs out in front of us. Give them a good little shake. And then when you're ready, with control, we're going to lower all the way down onto our backs. Taking that right knee into the chest. Point and flex the foot. Take the right arm out to a half T and then slowly guide that right knee down towards the left. And you can always place your knee and shin on a pillow to give you a little more comfort. Breathing into the twist. And then we'll come all the way back towards center. And then just slowly switching the legs. Hugging in that left knee in towards the chest, pointing and flexing that foot. Taking the left arm out to the side. And then gently guiding that left knee down towards the right. Taking a big inhale. Nice exhale. Softening into the twist. When you're ready, we'll slowly take that knee back into the chest. One last good squeeze. And then let the left leg meet the right. So we're going to come into Shavasana, taking the feet as wide as comfortable, letting the arms splay out next to you. And then gently tucking the chin in just a centimeter to lengthen out the back of the neck. Taking a big inhale through the nose, maybe the biggest breath you've taken in all day. Pause at the top. And then exhale nice and slow. Begin to relax the toes, the soles of the feet and the ankles. Relaxing the calves, the knees, and the tops of the thighs. Softening the pelvis and the hips. And then letting this peaceful sensation flow all the way up through the spine, into the belly, into the chest. Melting the shoulders down into the earth. Relaxing the arms all the way down to the fingertips. Letting them naturally curl in. Releasing any tension you may have in your jaw. And then softening the space between your brows. Letting your thoughts and mind become weightless as you sink and surrender to the earth. And then when you're ready, taking a big inhale through the nose. Nice exhale out the mouth. Begin to wiggle the toes and the fingertips. And then taking a nice big stretch like you're waking up in the morning. And if it feels good, rolling over to your favorite side into fetal pose. Taking one breath in and one breath out. On the exhale, slowly pressing all the way up to a comfortable seat. And then once you make your way there, closing the eyes still and taking the hands to heart center. Bowing the chin in gratitude for taking this time not only for yourself, but for your practice as well. I hope you all feel a little bit stronger, a little more brighter, and a little more at peace. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. Namaste. Well, thank you, everyone. I hope to see you next week. I'm going to turn off the recording now. Let's see, how do I do this?